Peace, all peace. So due to the migration of life from reality, the real world, to the internet and online, it's very crucial, very important for us as people to understand that many of our rights and privileges have been moved to an online space as well. That being said, censorship, and specifically the censorship of thoughts, censorship of ideas, messages, and so on and so forth, is most definitely an issue that the general populace have to take very, very seriously. And that's what I'll be delving into here, offering my perspective. So what happened to agreeing to disagree? To be honest, you're not going to agree with everyone you listen to. You're definitely not going to like everyone you meet. But giving everybody an honest chance and hearing people out and what they have to say is essential, especially in today's globalized world and society. Differences are what makes humans human. I repeat, differences are what makes humans human. If we were all the same skin color, ethnicity, culture, background, height, weight, we all thought the same, we all spoke the same, acted the same, we'd be nothing more than a computer race. I mean, really, in that hypothetical situation, how would you even know who to date? Everybody would talk and think the same, everybody would look the same. I mean, it wouldn't matter what your type is or your preference is, what you prefer. Dating would be useless, everybody would be the same. Differences give us that sense of individuality and further a sense of identity, and it's a trickle down from there as to how we think, how we speak, the ideas we come up with, the messages we decide to spread, and things of that nature. Not to digress, but that's why certain branches in the military have their soldiers shave their heads, have them assign numbers, titles are given out in order of hierarchy, and so on and so forth. It robs them of that individuality, of that sense of identity. Perpetuating the same old narrative over and over again creates nothing but an echo chamber and tired arguments. And that is part of the reason why I created this channel in the first place, The Weight of Truth. It was to stray away from common narratives that are regurgitated over and over and offer something a little different, a fresh perspective based in truth and not some sort of hidden agenda or an ulterior motive at play behind the scenes. I had to drop a quick plug in there. But the power and, more importantly, the popularity of social media companies through traffic, usage, the data collected, the money earned, etc., makes them really a pseudo government. And to be honest, they can rival most, if not all, governments and nation states in the world. By virtue of that reality, they should adhere to constitutional laws and rights rather than their own respective terms of service. I completely understand the terms of service argument, but again, when you take into account their power and popularity, I think it makes sense for them to adhere to constitutional laws and rights respective of the country that they're based in. Now, in discussing censorship on a worldwide scale especially, Andrew Tate is the latest victim, if you will, of censorship and banning from participation on social media platforms, most notably including Instagram and YouTube. And this happened around late August, near the end of August 2022. And by that point, Andrew Tate was the most Googled man in the world. Yes, Andrew Tate was the most Googled man on the planet for about 6 to 8 months into 2022, simply for a difference of opinion. And really, considering how much of an audience and following he was able to gather and how many people listened to his message, you could make the case that his opinion really wasn't that different. It was just the fact that he had the means, he had the courage, he had the willingness to actually speak his mind and be shameless about it and unafraid. Here are a couple of clips of him and what he has to say and how he thinks. Let me know what you guys think and if you agree.
Nearly every word that comes out of my mouth is self-hypnosis. Every word that comes out of my mouth is self-hypnosis. And it's the same for everybody watching this. Every single word you speak is self-hypnosis. Every single thing you say out of your own mouth is almost more important than the things you hear from other people.
Amen.
You can't be sitting there saying, I'm depressed. I got a generational curse. I'm unlucky, bro. You can't be saying these things because you're reaffirming them within your mind. They're not good people. They attack people nonstop. They start hate mobs nonstop. They're constantly trying to get people canceled and destroys people's lives for no reason. They're protesting, burning things. Like, they're not even just good human beings, these people. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely and utterly insane.
Much like Donald Trump, Andrew Tate was actually more than just censored. He was straight up banned from these social media platforms. And I think it's deeper than just censorship, as these social media giants may have wanted to flex their muscles and make an example out of him. If someone with as much fame, as much of a following, as much clout and money and respect as Andrew Tate or Donald Trump could be censored, imagine what could happen to the average person. And in today's day and age, like I mentioned, censorship needs more than just shutting down your voice. Real life implications can follow suit, including losing your job, your friends or family, being shamed by those same friends or family, and your peers and your community, and also being ostracized by society at large. In that same breath, Donald Trump, the ex-president of the United States, was also a victim of censorship or flat out banning via Twitter, most notably. The position he had held, which was the most high position in arguably the most powerful nation state in the world, offered more than just fame and money. It offered power, and he was still silenced and ostracized, again demonstrating just how much power these social media platforms have. He could be considered the commander-in-chief. He could even be considered the leader of the free world. And nonetheless, and he was still forced to succumb to the rules and regulations of said social media platforms. The average man or woman wouldn't stand a chance. Classic books like Fahrenheit 451 and 1984 discuss censorship both in a fantastic way. You guys should definitely read those if you haven't. For some cliff notes, 1984 was actually published in 1949, but the story takes place in the year 1984, so it would have been the future at the time, where the world has reached a point of constant war and constant propaganda and government surveillance, to the point where in the book there is something known as the thought police, which is employed to persecute individuality and independent thinking. Sounds a lot like censorship. But in the novel, they were referred to as thought crimes. As far as Fahrenheit 451, it was published in the 1950s and portrays a society in 2049, so again in the future, where books have been outlawed and people known as firemen are ordered to burn any books that are found. The main character himself is a fireman who becomes quite frustrated with his role of having to essentially destroy knowledge and censor literature, and eventually quits his job and finds a different purpose. I also wanted to add that all we ever know, we've been told. We weren't born with any of the thoughts, ideas, knowledge, interests, and biases that we have now. We were taught them, we learned them somewhere along the way during the journey of life, and that unique combination is what makes us who we are. Now imagine if all of that was censored. Censorship is not and will never be the answer, especially towards something as harmless as a difference of opinion. So continue to do your own research and continue to speak your mind shamelessly, regardless of whatever people have to say. And stay safe and see you soon. Bless.